Welcome to the Geisha Tattoos, Amigurumi, and Zen Aesthetics podcast.
Glad to be here.
You've presented us with a really fascinating collection of insights today, and we're about to take, well, a unique deep dive.
Yes, it looks like quite a mix on the surface.
It really does. We're going to explore the worlds of geisha, Japanese tattoos, or Irezumi,
That's right, Irezumi.
the delightful art of amigurumi, and the principles of Zen aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Our aim really is to uncover the connections between these, well, seemingly different facets of Japanese culture.
And see how they perhaps paint a richer picture.
Exactly. Understand how they contribute to a deeper appreciation of Japanese artistry and philosophy.
It's remarkable, actually, how these distinct areas echo some fundamental Japanese values.
Like what, for instance?
Well, things like a deep respect for tradition, a real dedication to intricate artistry,
Okay.
diverse forms of personal expression, and, a mindful approach to beauty in everyday life.
That makes sense. Okay, let's begin by stepping into the enchanting world of geisha.
A world often shrouded in mystery.
Definitely. Your sources paint a picture of deep tradition and, yeah, certain mystique. We've learned about the exclusive nature of geisha houses,
Very exclusive.
but also about alternative ways for those outside that inner circle to experience this culture.
Which is interesting in itself.
It is. And the historical significance of their residences, too. Plus, we've touched on the specific etiquette for engaging with geisha and their respected place in modern Japanese entertainment.
That exclusivity surrounding geisha houses, often needing private invitations or, established connections,
Right.
it really underscores the commitment to preserving very old rituals and art forms.
So it's intentional safeguarding.
Exactly. This deliberate safeguarding of tradition creates a sense of a unique and, well, specialized world, just as your sources indicate. However, it's interesting, as you said, that avenues exist for broader cultural engagement.
Absolutely. I found those alternative experiences particularly interesting.
The workshops and performances?
Yes. The idea of geisha performance workshops offering maybe a hands-on element and cultural workshops giving historical context, those sound like, well, wonderful opportunities.
They offer a different kind of insight.
And then there are the unique dinner performances and visits to historical okiya.
The traditional residences.
Right, which, while needing an introduction, offer a glimpse into the geisha's traditional living and training environment.
These okiya were traditionally the boarding houses where geisha lived and trained, you see.
Ah, okay.
So visiting a historical one provides a valuable perspective on the communal aspect of their life and the sheer dedication required to master their arts.
That makes sense.
And the fact that booking geisha often involves specialized agencies highlights the deeply rooted traditions and the level of formality involved.
Right, it's not casual.
Not at all. It's a process built on trust and established relationships, really.
Definitely a far cry from just, making a reservation online.
Absolutely.
And the information in your sources about the cost of these traditional dinners with geisha performances. Wow. It really underscores that exclusivity and the high level of artistry involved.
It reflects the years of training and the cultural significance.
But it's also fascinating to consider the contrast, the private nature of their residences, alongside the, well, public appreciation for their performances as a respected part of Japan's cultural heritage.
That duality, I think it speaks to the nuanced way tradition operates.
How so?
Well, there's a carefully maintained private sphere dedicated to the cultivation of these arts, and then there's a public-facing role where these skills are shared and celebrated as an important cultural contribution.
A balance, then.
A careful balance, yes.
Okay, let's transition now to the captivating world of Japanese tattoos, or Irezumi.
A very different form of artistry.
Indeed. Your sources outline a fascinating historical journey, starting from their initial use in marking criminals, which is a rather stark beginning,
Quite a contrast to today's perception in some circles.
to their evolution as powerful symbols of status, bravery, and even spiritual significance.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the profound symbolism woven into traditional motifs, like dragons and koi fish.
Deep cultural roots there.
We'll also explore the shifting perceptions in the West, the more gradual integration into contemporary Japanese society, and current trends shaping attitudes towards tattoos.
The historical transformation of tattoos in Japan is really compelling.
It really is.
From a mark of social stigma to an emblem of status and even spiritual devotion, particularly among groups like, say, the samurai who embraced intricate designs. It reveals a remarkable cultural reinterpretation over time.
That's amazing. And these traditional motifs you mentioned.
Oh, they are incredibly rich with meaning. They often reflect personal stories, aspirations, connections to Japanese mythology, folklore. It's a visual language.
A language on skin. Wow. It's also striking to see how Western perceptions have evolved. The sources point to a growing appreciation for Irezumi as a meaningful art form and a powerful means of self-expression, even influencing fashion trends.
Which is quite a shift from previous stigmas, you're right.
Yeah.
This increased acceptance in the West, where tattoos are often viewed, as art and a form of personal narrative, has certainly had a global impact.
But within Japan itself.
While within Japanese society, the integration has been more complex, it reflects, I think, a deep respect for tradition alongside these evolving ideas of individual expression.
That's a key point, isn't it? While your sources indicate a growing acceptance in Japan, particularly among younger generations and within pop culture,
Yes, there's definitely a shift happening there.
they are still very real considerations in professional environments and more conservative segments of society.
That's true. Conservative attitudes still hold sway in certain areas.
So it seems to be an ongoing dialogue between personal identity and established social norms.
Precisely. It's a reflection of a culture that highly values its traditions while also navigating new forms of self-expression. It's a dynamic process.
And the sources mention contemporary trends, like tattoos influencing fashion.
Yes, the increasing incorporation of traditional tattoo designs into contemporary clothing is a fascinating example.
So?
It shows how these two worlds can intersect and maybe how a more open attitude towards body art as a form of personal storytelling might be developing.
Interesting. Okay, now let's move into something completely different again. The delightful realm of Amigurumi.
Ah, yes, the cute crocheted figures.
Exactly. Your sources trace its origins in Japan as a cherished craft using crochet and knitting to create these utterly charming figures.
A traditional craft that's found global appeal.
It really has. It has just blossomed into a worldwide phenomenon, hasn't it? The sheer variety of possible creations seems limitless.
It really does. The creativity is astounding.
We'll touch upon some of the essential techniques, the significance of selecting the right yarn and tools, which sounds surprisingly important,
Oh, it makes a huge difference.
and even offer some encouraging tips for newcomers who might feel inspired to try it themselves.
Which hopefully many will.
We'll also explore the seemingly endless array of patterns and designs, their suitability for so many different occasions, and, importantly, the sheer joy that comes from sharing these little creations.
The journey of amigurumi, from its traditional Japanese roots to its current global popularity, really illustrates how a craft can evolve and resonate across cultures.
While keeping its core charm.
Exactly. While maintaining its inherent charm. As your sources suggest, it evokes feelings of warmth, nostalgia, and it's just a wonderful outlet for creativity. The sheer imagination behind the vast array of amigurumi creations, from personalized custom pieces to whimsical character combinations and incredibly detailed miniature figures.
Right.
Not to mention those enchanting creatures like fairies and dragons. It's truly inspiring.
They just sound so endearing. And it's interesting to learn that there's more to it than just, simple crocheting.
Oh, much more.
Your sources mention the importance of mastering various stitches and shaping techniques, the vital role of color choices,
Color is key for character.
and specific stitching methods to achieve different textures. Even the type of stuffing used, whether it's fiberfill or weighted beads, can significantly impact the final result.
Absolutely. Those weighted beads can give a nice heft and posability.
And then there are all the delightful possibilities for embellishments, like embroidery and buttons, that bring these little characters to life.
These seemingly small details are what truly give amigurumi their unique character and charm. They make each one special. The choice of yarn weight, the specific color palettes that bring a character to life, and even the fiber content all contribute to the final feel and appearance.
So choosing the right materials is crucial.
It really is. And as the sources wisely point out, experimenting with different textures and opting for good quality yarn brands can really elevate the finished piece.
And the tools themselves sound quite specific. Crochet hooks in various sizes, the yarn needle, stitch markers,
Stitch markers are lifesavers.
scissors, a darning needle, a tape measure, and then those essential little additions like safety eyes and embroidery thread for adding those crucial details.
Having the right tools definitely makes the process smoother and, frankly, more enjoyable, particularly for those just starting out.
Makes sense.
And the tips provided in your sources are invaluable, focusing on maintaining consistent stitch tension. That's a big one.
I can imagine.
Selecting the appropriate yarn for the project and having all your materials organized.
Good advice.
The suggestion to explore online tutorials and connect with the Amigurumi community is also fantastic advice for finding support and inspiration. It's a very welcoming community.
Absolutely. And I appreciated the emphasis on starting with simpler projects to build confidence.
Yes, definitely don't jump into the most complex dragon first.
Right. It can be easy to feel overwhelmed by some of the more intricate designs you see. But the sources reassure us that the patterns themselves offer a wealth of creative possibilities through color, unique shapes, and personalization.
Endless possibilities, really.
And the idea that these handmade creations make such thoughtful gifts for all sorts of occasions, birthdays, weddings, even just as hostess gifts.
Oh, definitely. They're perfect for that.
And even serve as charming seasonal decorations, it really highlights their versatility and widespread appeal.
And the act of sharing amigurumi creations seems to foster a strong sense of community, doesn't it?
It sounds like it.
Whether it's through online platforms, local workshops, or simply the joy of gifting a handmade item, it connects people.
That's lovely.
The inspiration that can be drawn from nature, from pop culture, and the personal touches that make each piece unique truly add to the sentimental value of these gifts.
Speaking of finding inspiration and meaning, perhaps this is a good moment to remind listeners where they can find more info.
Good idea.
You can visit nightingale-ugesu-geisha.com to explore these fascinating aspects of Japanese culture further.
A great resource for diving deeper.
Definitely. Okay, let's shift our focus now to something that feels perhaps a little more philosophical, but is undeniably woven into the fabric of Japanese culture: Zen aesthetics.
Ah, yes. Moving from the tangible to the intangible in a way.
Exactly. Your sources explain its profound influence on design and everyday life, deeply rooted in Japanese Buddhism,
Guess its origins are there.
and emphasizing those core tenets of impermanence, interconnectedness, and mindfulness.
Key concepts, definitely.
And it sounds like this translates into minimalist designs featuring natural elements that encourage a sense of calm and balance,
Creating serene environments.
ultimately fostering serene environments conducive to mental clarity.
The core Zen Buddhist principles are indeed foundational here. The understanding of impermanence, for instance.
The idea that nothing lasts.
Precisely. The idea that everything is in a constant state of flux, and the interconnectedness of all things, these cultivate a deep appreciation for the present moment.
And mindfulness.
And a mindful way of engaging with the world, yes. Recognizing the transient beauty in everyday occurrences becomes a path to personal growth and a source of inspiration in various aspects of life.
And your sources beautifully detail how this has shaped Japanese aesthetics over centuries.
It's deeply ingrained.
This keen sensitivity to ephemeral beauty, the emphasis on simplicity and natural forms, influencing everything from traditional art and architecture
Think of traditional gardens or architecture.
to those deeply meaningful rituals like the tea ceremony.
Absolutely. The tea ceremony is a prime example of Zen principles in practice.
And in contemporary design, how does it apply now?
Well, the application of Zen principles extends beyond mere minimalism, though that's often what people focus on.
Okay.
It's really about intentionally creating tranquil spaces through the thoughtful use of natural materials. Deliberate arrangements, placement is key.
Right, like ikebana flower arranging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And using neutral color palettes and uncluttered layouts that promote a sense of inner peace and harmony. It's about the feeling of the space.
And it's not solely about the physical environment, is it? Your sources discuss integrating Zen into our daily lives
That's crucial. It's not just about aesthetics.
through a mindful appreciation of the present, fostering a deeper connection with our surroundings, and even in practices like mindful eating.
Yes, being fully present in simple activities.
It's about cherishing those fleeting moments and cultivating mental clarity and emotional equilibrium in our everyday routines.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach that integrates these principles into various aspects of life. Not just how your house looks, but how you live in it.
And contemporary interpretations.
Contemporary interpretations of Zen take these spiritual underpinnings and apply them in practical ways to modern living. The minimalist designs often associated with Zen,
Yes.
they're not just about visual appeal, they're about creating environments that encourage mindful living. They can transform our homes into personal sanctuaries,
Sanctuaries. I like that.
reminding us of the beauty of impermanence and ultimately contributing to our mental well-being.
It's truly fascinating to see how these seemingly distinct elements, The refined artistry of the geisha, the powerful symbolism of Irezumi, the charming detail of Amigurumi, and the serene philosophy of Zen.
They all seem quite different at first glance.
They do, but they all seem to share these underlying threads of tradition, a dedication to artistry, a deep appreciation for beauty, and a meticulous attention to detail.
Absolutely. If we consider the bigger picture, you can really see how these elements contribute to a uniquely rich and evolving cultural tapestry.
Yeah.
Each provides a valuable perspective, a different lens through which to understand Japanese aesthetics and core values.
We certainly hope this exploration has sparked your curiosity and perhaps offered some surprising insights into these diverse facets of Japanese culture.
It really does seem like the interplay between them reveals something quite profound and constantly evolving.
Yes.
Which I suppose raises an interesting point for you, the listener. How might these values we've discussed, the dedication to craftsmanship, the respect for tradition, the cultivation of mindfulness, how might they resonate with your own experiences and understanding of beauty and culture?
That's a great question to ponder. Absolutely. We encourage you to continue exploring these fascinating topics.
There's so much more to discover.
Perhaps you'll find yourself wanting to delve deeper into the history of a particular Irezumi motif. Maybe try your hand at creating your own amigurumi,
Go on, get some yarn.
or even consider how incorporating some Zen principles could bring a greater sense of calm and balance to your own living space.
Small changes can make a difference.
And as a reminder, you can visit nightingale-ugisu-geisha.com for more in-depth information and resources on all the topics we've explored today.
Check it out.
Thank you for listening to the Geisha Tattoos, Amigurumi, and Zen Aesthetics podcast.